Here, and we are finally in my top 5 favorite Pokemon types. So I released another couple videos of different Pokemon, like my all-time top 10 favorite. I have a few more in the works, and I'm going to start going into a few other areas besides Pokemon, but I wanted to finish out this series first. I know it's been a few extra months than I was thinking it, or than I thought it would be, but yeah, we're getting near the end, and it's close. So my 5th favorite Pokemon type, without a doubt, would have to be the water type. I love water Pokemon. I think I don't, they're not a top 3, but they're definitely top 5, 5 or 6. They've always been high on my list. Some of my favorite Pokemon, just in general, are water types for the most part, and I just think they're solid all around Pokemon. The first Pokemon I was ever going to pick was supposed to be a water type because my first game was Pokemon Blue version, and well, anyone who knows me knows why it's Blastoise and Squirtle weren't my first Pokemon. But let's go ahead and dive in. So, quick refresher to the rules for anyone who is new or anyone who hasn't seen the videos in a while. Oh, you didn't see that. So the first one is I have to show a pure type Pokemon. That's my favorite. The next one is a primary type, for water. And then the next one is water is the secondary type. And then my least favorite pure type. So let's dive in. So you already saw my favorite pure type water is Blastoise. That shouldn't come as a surprise, especially as from anyone who saw my top 10 list. He was like 3rd or 4th on my list. Blastoise has always been one of my favorite Pokemon. Squirtle is actually my favorite starter Pokemon of all time, like the actual starters themselves, not the whole family line. I actually like Squirtle more than Charmander. Again, we're talking like first stage evolutions. So Blastoise has just always been cool to me. I mean, he's this giant kick butt turtle. He's got those water cannons on the back. And honestly, like, he was supposed to be my first Pokemon in Blue version. But anyone who watched my top 10 list and anyone who knows me, I was that impatient little kid where I just kept clicking A to mash through to get out of it. And I accidentally clicked Charmander instead. And I just stuck with him. But, the rest is history. But Blastoise is still always one of my favorites. Whenever I get a chance to put Blastoise on my team, I'll throw him on there. It's fun to level him up. And again, those cannons on his back just look amazing. He is a solid Pokemon, a solid design, and he's just great all around. Now, my favorite primary type Pokemon, it's another starter, and that is Swampert. I have a lot of favorite water types, and honestly, this list was one of the harder ones to compile for my primary and secondary. There were a lot of options that I kept swapping back and forth from, but then I'm like, you know what? Hoenn is my favorite region. The game, the Pokemon, the Pokedex, just the overall everything about it. I love Ruby and Sapphire. They're my favorite Pokemon games. Hoenn's my favorite region, and my favorite starter trio, so like if we take all of them into account, would be Hoenn. So I just had to throw Swampert on here. I mean, he's an amazing water type. The only downside to Swampert, the only thing that's bad about him, and I think true fans already know, is one little tiny grass attack and he is basically done. His double typing is what kind of screws him over. But other than that, he's a great Pokemon. And Mudkip is such a cute little Pokemon. And I love the design of them. Plus, Swampert has a really cool Mega Evolution. I actually don't like Blastoise's Mega Evolution. I like the dual cannon, but Swampert does have a cool Mega Evolution. Now, my favorite Pokemon that has second water as the secondary type would have to be Walrein. I like the walrus look. Spheal is super cool, and I love the ice water typing. I think it's great that he has those ice moves to hit hard against like dragons and even grass types, but he still has his water typing to help him against like fire and stuff. So that's always a good combination, and he just looks cool. And again, I know I'm being a little favoritism towards Hoenn here, but I'm just a huge Hoenn fan, and I think Walrein is cool. And again, like I said, the primary and secondary ones for this list were actually kind of hard to pick. There was a lot of choices, but I just ultimately went with Walrein. Now, my least favorite Pokemon, this is one of those where, again, I have a few of these on this series. It's not one that I necessarily hate. Like, there's a few on this series that I just hated. That's why they were in my least. This one's not really I hate them. it was a more of, I forgot they existed until I started researching for this list. So there was no water Pokemons that I just outright like hated to the point where I wanted to put them on this list. At least not pure types. There were a few that had like a primary or secondary type that I didn't like, but again, the rule is it has to be pure type. So the pure type water Pokemon that's my least favorite, and again, this is just more because I forgot they existed, was Cumcue. Cumcue, I cannot pronounce his name. Again, I forgot this guy existed. And then when I finally looked up and I'm like, oh wait, I remember him. You know, he's kind of just lackluster. His movesets are his stats are kind of okay. But again, he's, in my mind at least, he's just a forgettable Pokemon. So it's not that I hate him. So if you do like him or he is your favorite, which I don't think that he is anyone's favorite. But if you do like him, again, no hate, you know, you do you. He's not one of those handful of Pokemon that I hate and I think your opinion's wrong. He actually is one that, go for it. If he's your favorite, he's your favorite. I kind of forgot he existed. So there's my number 5 list. Stick around for number 4. That's going to be dropping soon. And I'll see you guys next time.